Freyja, goddess of love and war. Freyja is a goddess of the northern pagan tradition, the patroness of wild nature, the perilous sea, witchcraft, female independence, competition, war, destruction, death, and love. She belongs to the Vanir, a powerful race of Norse gods associated with trade, creative labor, and warfare. After a prolonged conflict with the Aesir, the Vanir managed to storm the fortress of Asgard and compel the Aesir themselves, led by Odin, to conclude an honorable peace, joining the unified Thing, Council of the gods of the northern tradition, as equals. The image of Freyja, daughter of the supreme Vanir god Njord, combines unsurpassed beauty, vitality, determination, and strength, all shrouded in mystical secrets and the breath of the inevitable cycle of birth and death. The goddess is the embodiment of the feminine principle in wild nature, where there's no place for toxic shame or patriarchal social conventions. Fierce and tender, mighty and receptive, eternally young yet possessing deep wisdom, Freyja leads the brave into battle while also surrendering to ecstatic dance in a circle of shaman sorcerers. Gold not only adorns her garments but also becomes a tool for achieving goals, attaining victory and success. The goddess uses her wisdom and ability to manipulate hidden forces in both interpersonal relationships and in the harsh competitive struggles of trade and finance. Freyja's fertility is not found in the tranquility of cultivated fields and manicured gardens, but in the unstoppable life force of wild forests, swift mountain rivers, dark thickets, and mystically veiled, inaccessible valleys. Her natural power is the strength of towering pines and the slender blades of grass that can break through any asphalt and concrete. It's the might of life itself, which crumbles the harsh stone of mountains and transforms lifeless deserts into a riot of greenery. Freyja's love is a feeling that tolerates no dependence or subservience between lovers. It is unveiled passion and unbridled love play that drives one mad with a kaleidoscope of emotions, from the tender silence of relaxed intimacy to the all-consuming exaltation of animalistic sexual desire. For Freyja, the transition between life and death is natural and inevitable. One cannot exist without the other in nature. Her hand will not tremble, whether it's on the neck of a deer cornered by a pack of wolves, or when cutting the umbilical cord of an infant taking its first breath. The best warriors of ancient Scandinavia dreamed of reaching Freyja's field of the people, the goddess's afterlife realm, no less than the famed Valhalla. Fortunately, by an agreement with Odin, they share equally the warriors who fall gloriously in battle. Most often the goddess appears to her followers as a golden-haired, beautiful woman with a strong and lithe body. Every movement exudes sexuality, but it's not a call to action, rather a natural art of being oneself, without hiding or being ashamed of one's own inner strength. The style, clothing, and overall appearance Freyja adopts harmonize with the era, society, and culture of those to whom she descends, but they are always perfect and incredibly attractive. Freyja's many names. The name Freyja in Old Norse means lady, mistress. It's a respectful form of address that by the 9th century had replaced the personal name of this beautiful goddess, which has since been lost. Such a replacement of a name with an epithet often happens in language when people try to avoid attracting unnecessary attention and wrath from a deity. Freyja and her twin brother Freyja together form a natural divine pair, lady and lord. However, his personal name, Yngvi, survived and was clearly not taboo, unlike that of his dangerous and unpredictable sister. In ancient sources, many names, kennings, for Freyja are found. Gefn, the giver, she who gives prosperity or happiness. This epithet is also often used to refer to the sea. Hern, horn or flax. Mardol, she who makes the sea shine or swell. Skelv, shiver, tremor, vibration. This epithet indicates the goddess's patronage over magic and secret arts. It's also associated with the trembling of the earth during mountain avalanches and with areas of the sea where two underwater currents meet, creating a trap for ships. Seer, wild sow, a strong and dangerous animal, an encounter with which often promised great trouble for a hunter. A wild sow protecting her litter of piglets was considered more dangerous than even a bear. Freyja, mistress of the slain, mistress of the dead. This epithet emphasizes her role as a goddess of war and ruler of Folkvanger, field of the people, the afterlife realm where she receives half of the warriors gloriously fallen on battlefields. Vanadis, child of the Vanir, or Dis of the Vanir. This highlights the lineage of gods from which the goddess originates. In ancient Scandinavia, this term was also used for boars and wild pigs. One should not be mistaken in thinking that using one name or another when addressing Freyja clearly delineates a specific aspect of her and excludes her other properties. The name merely emphasizes the context of the address, but it is the whole personality of the goddess with all her peculiarities and character that responds. Freyja's mythology. In Norse pagan myths, Freyja, a chthonic goddess, is the daughter of the supreme Vanir god Njord, god of the sea, trade, and raids, and the twin sister of Freyr, god of agricultural fertility, fishing, male virility, and wars of conquest. She commands wild nature, the sea element, and mists, and also patronizes the secret art of cider, magic. Besides this, the goddess provokes strife and wars, flying over battlefields and rejoicing in fierce combat and spilled blood. She sends winged maiden Valkyries to choose the best of the fallen for her realm of the dead. Freyja instills mad love and passion that do not fit into traditions, laws, or the boundaries of common sense. She also provokes animalistic, unbridled manifestations in people and gods, which can destroy both the reputation and the life of the victim of the goddess's attention. After the end of the wars between the Aesir and Vanir, when Njord's axe broke the gates of Asgard and Odin, at the steps of the High One's halls, requested negotiations, Freyja was left in Asgard as an honored hostage of their peace treaty. She became part of the Thing, Council of Gods, and lives among the Aesir as an equal and revered great goddess. By the same treaty, Njord and Freyja became those who lead all religious and magical rituals in Asgard, the chief shamans or priests. Freyja and Freya, Lady and Lord, are simultaneously brother and sister, as well as spouses. In later poems recorded in Christianized Scandinavia, skalds refer to Freyr as the husband of his sister Freyja with the epithet Odr or Odd, meaning frenzied, furious, inspired, to avoid emphasizing the theme of incest. Since the spouses live separately, Freyja in Asgard and Freyr in Alfheim, the world of elves of which he is the ruler, myths mention that Freyja weeps for her husband with tears of red gold. Simultaneously, this image of golden tears relates to Freyr's patronage of long-distance trading and raiding expeditions, from which naturally there was a high chance of not returning. But those who did return brought gold, which was not mined in ancient Scandinavia. Thus, gold becomes paid for with the tears of women waiting for their husbands from expeditions. Freyja's golden tears absorb this metaphor. Freyja gives birth to two goddess daughters, Gersemi, meaning treasure, and a Nos, meaning jewel. In Norse mythology, Freyja often becomes the cause of conflicts between gods and beings embodying the forces of nature, Jotuns. Myths are known in which Freyja, with the help of magic, deception, and blackmail, helps her loyal followers acquire desired treasures, power, or strength. Freyja is inextricably linked with witchcraft, the art of Seder, runes, and all secret techniques in the fight against rivals. The goddess is capable of defeating an enemy with brute force and furious onslaught, as well as with magic, charms, and intrigue. Symbols of Freyja. The symbolism of the goddess Freyja is extremely diverse, as many symbols related to wild nature, Natural elements, the irresistible force of nature, manifestations of the animalistic principle in humans, magic, and mysteries can be attributed to her. The most famous symbols are legendary items mentioned in the Eddas and Sagas. Brisingamen, a shining precious necklace, a metal ring worn on the neck, a choker, a great treasure crafted by 4 master dwarfs, Svartalfa, dwarves. It was so beautiful that Freyja spent a night with each of the masters to receive it as a gift. Falcon feather cloak, Fjaderhammer Valshammer, often depicted specifically as a cloak, but the translation of this word rather indicates the ability to transform into a falcon, to wear the hammer, skin of a falcon, or the ability to fly like a falcon. Shape-shifting into a falcon is a very famous characteristic of Freyja. Sometimes she is depicted as a winged maiden with falcon wings on her back. Chariot drawn by cats. In the Prose Edda it says, Taekerhon Kutum Sinum Oxitrii Reed Sini, she drives her cats and rides in her chariot. When ancient Norse texts speak of cats, they primarily mean wild felines that lived in the forests of northern Europe and Scandinavia. They were related to leopards and were large predators, dangerous to humans. A chariot drawn by such cats shows the dangerous and predatory nature of the goddess. Freyja's halls are called Sessrumnir. They are located in Folkvangar, the field of the people. Sessrumnir Hall is a spacious building with many rooms adorned with gold, silver, and precious inlays. It is considered one of the most beautiful structures among the gods' halls. Folkvangar, where Freyja's halls are located, is the realm of the dead, over which the goddess rules. According to the agreement with Odin, after the gates of Asgard fell to Njord's axe, half of the deceased glorious people go not to Valhalla, but to Freyja's field of the people. Naturally, glorious people are not only warriors who died with a sword in hand. This stereotype arose from a literal understanding of the poetic language of ancient skalds and the audience they addressed when writing their sagas. The sources we have contain mythological poems whose target audience was Viking jarls and their retinues, those who became famous in life or died an unusual and astonishing death end up in Folkvangar. Freyja and cats, Freyja's cats in ancient Scandinavia, were leopards, which were common in northern Europe at that time. Large felines have always been considered dangerous predators to humans throughout human history. Freyja's companions in the form of wild cats symbolize her own wild and dangerous nature, strength, and cunning. In the modern world, where domestic cats have become members of human families, Freyja is perceived as a patroness and protector of small furry pets. Neo-pagans have brought Freyja's connection with cats to the forefront, making the cat almost the main symbol of the goddess. This has influenced how Freyja began to be perceived as a cat goddess. She started being attributed with the tenderness and kindness characteristic of modern cats. However, she, of course, has not lost her independence and waywardness. The symbol of the sow boar. The boar, or wild sow, is an important symbol of the goddess Freyja. 2 of her names are directly related to these creatures. Boars are associated with the Vanir gods. They are sacred animals reflecting their natural might, bravery, unpredictability, and care for their offspring. Encountering a boar in the forest today remains a serious challenge for any hunter, even one armed with modern firearms. A wild sow protecting her litter is capable of sweeping away and trampling any threat to her children, paying no attention to danger to herself. A boar in the forest is often more dangerous than a wolf or even a bear, as these animals know no fear in combat and do not retreat if they decide to fight. Many modern neo-pagans misinterpret the symbolism of Freyja's sow. They relate it to agricultural animals and associate it with fertility, fecundity, and domestic husbandry. Such an interpretation does not correspond to the ancient Norse symbolism of Freyja. Even the boar companion and helper of the goddess bears the name battle boar, not a domestic pig. Hildisvini, Freyja owns a boar named Hildisvini, which translates to battle boar. This boar is her companion and helper, and she often uses it as a mount. In Norse culture, the boar symbolized protection and battle readiness. An image of a boar or its figurine was considered a protective amulet capable of giving strength and protecting in battle. Principles of Freyja life always wins. When it seems all is lost, nature finds a way to revive. Even a thin, fragile sprout breaks through thick, strong asphalt. Life is persistent, and its drive to continue knows no bounds. Freedom is more valuable than dependence. A free bird will always find sustenance, while a chained dog will die if its bowl becomes empty. True strength comes through independence and adaptation to new conditions, development and growth, the ability to find opportunities where others see only limitations. Strength comes from within. The main source of stability is within us. Flexible branches spring back under pressure while a dry stick breaks. True resilience and confidence are based on an inner core. Understanding yourself allows you to go through any trials, maintaining integrity and clarity of mind. Prosperity is the measure of your balance. Success and enrichment are not goals, but natural consequences of a clear understanding of your desires and diligent work that brings satisfaction. Win by any means if honesty doesn't work. Life isn't a game where rules are more important than the outcome. The main thing is to preserve your life and endure. Sometimes you have to break the generally accepted order to achieve your goals and protect what is truly dear. Death and life are inextricably linked. The end of one path always becomes the beginning of a new one. Death is not a completion, but a necessary phase of the renewal cycle, opening the way for new existence, giving impetus for forward movement. Rituals for the goddess Freyja. In the modern northern pagan tradition, there are many rituals dedicated to Freyja. She is revered and appealed to as a goddess of fertility, success, female independence, beauty, and love. Freyja is also called upon for help in battle or in fierce market competition. She is glorified as a protector of women and their rights, as well as men capable of going beyond patriarchal Abrahamic limitations and living in equality with women. The goddess helps in the fight for equality and freedom, both for minorities and for all oppressed people. Finances, wealth, and the successful realization of creative abilities are also frequent reasons for turning to Freyja. When conducting any ritual related to the goddess Freyja, it's important to remember to respect the goddess, but avoid subservience. The goddess likes proud and strong followers who know their own worth and respect those more powerful than themselves. The simplest ritual addressed to Freyja is a ritual of glorifying the goddess. For this ritual, you need to choose an image of the goddess that you like and that resonates with you. This can be a printout of an artwork or a special figurine. You can also use an image of any of the goddess's symbols, hawk, boar, necklace, etc., as this object. Place the image in a specially prepared and cleansed area, on a table, windowsill, nightstand, or other flat surface. Light a candle of gold, red, green, or blue color. Address the goddess, glorifying her. The text can be spoken in your native language in free form, but if you have a talent for versification, it's worth making an effort to compose a short hymn in honor of Freyja. Present previously prepared offerings or gifts. This could be special food, drinks, or something you would like to offer Freyja. After this, you can ask the goddess for something or turn to her for advice. Spend some time near the ritual area, contemplating the symbolic image of the goddess Freyja. In this meditation, try to listen to yourself to hear the goddess's answer within you. Thank Freyja and extinguish the candle. Based on this scheme, you can develop personal rituals for different themes and situations. You can set up a special altar, decorate it in honor of the goddess, and make it a permanent place of address to Freyja. The goddess can also be presented with various gifts, including dances, music making, and your own creative work, before the altar. You can always expand the ritual and invite several people to participate. Some collective rituals should be conducted in nature, if possible. In doing so, do not forget to ask permission for the ritual from the spirits of the place. Gifts. Freyja gives to her followers. Freyja is a generous goddess, ready to reward her followers with many gifts. She is ready to endow them with strength to fight for their independence, self-confidence, opportunities for self-realization, success in creativity and monetizing their abilities, magical powers and skills, sexual power and attractiveness, health and beauty, Freyja's son and daughters. In sources, tales, and legends, there is no mention of a son of the goddess Freyja. Only 2 daughters of the goddess by her brother Freyja, represented in their myth under the name Oder or Od, are known. The 2 known daughters of the goddess Freyja are Gersemi, treasure, and Hanos, jewel. The sagas and Eddas report nothing more about them. However, Scandinavians used the names of these maidens to refer to everything most precious, unique, and beautiful they had. These words became designations for what a person cherishes almost more than life itself. Freyja, today. A strong and independent goddess, not hiding behind the strength and glory of her husband like many others, Freyja in the modern world has become a patron goddess of feminism, equality between women and men, and a defender of the rights and freedoms of every individual. She patronizes women who strive for social success and self-realization, build careers and become independent, making autonomous decisions about their lives and bodies. The global economy and local markets for goods and services are like a natural element. They flourish and are in constant competitive struggle. Goddess Freyja, with her influence, emphasizes the natural origin of market relations. Freyja supports the free choice of sexual interests and preferences that do not harm other people, viewing them as a manifestation of each person's natural properties. To a large extent, cosmetology, makeup, and the entire beauty industry are under the influence of the goddess Freyja. Many modern people associate Freyja with family happiness, female fecundity, and fertility, not understanding the true role of this goddess in the northern pagan tradition. Most likely they are not familiar with other Scandinavian goddesses and draw their conclusions based on superficial articles and posts on the internet. Freyja as a teacher of magic. According to myths, the goddess Freyja possesses and uses various magical arts and practices. She taught Odin Seder, the ancient shamanistic sorceress magical art of Scandinavia. In turn, Odin revealed the secrets of the runes to her. The goddess can help her follower in the study and mastery of magic, secret knowledge, and sorceress techniques. She is a strict but caring teacher, giving the knowledge that can bring her worshipper what they want from life. For her, there is no division into good and bad or light and dark magic. Magic is neutral, like everything in nature. How it is used, however, is a question of the specific person's ethics. Freyja, the High Priestess. According to the treaty between the Aesir and Vanir, which ended their enmity, Njord and Freyja became the supreme directors of rituals in Asgard. They are often called priest and priestess because of this. Freyja, as the High Priestess of Asgard, can teach a person the deepest, most powerful, and beautiful priestly rituals of the northern pagan tradition. She will also help in shamanistic sorceress ritual practices of Saeder for those who turn to her for secret knowledge. Freyja, goddess of love. As a goddess of love, Freyja is very well known among modern neo-pagans. Unfortunately, many attribute their own ideas about love to Freyja, without understanding what love means for this goddess. The love bestowed by Freyja upon ancient Scandinavians was not a blessing but a curse. It awakened forbidden passions in a person, drove them mad, forcing them to violate social norms and traditional orders. Such love led to the betrayal of comrades, the murder of loved ones, the breaking of oaths, and death at the hands of lovers. In most cases, such stories ended in exile, disgrace, and ultimately death. In modern society, there are far fewer conventions and restrictions, but the feeling of love that Freyja can bestow is also comparable to madness. It destroys families, annihilates businesses, ruins careers, and turns reputations to dust. For some, This might seem romantic or attractive. In real life, such love leads to severe psycho-emotional consequences. After such relationships, much time is needed to recover and heal mental wounds. Turning to the goddess Freyja for happiness in relationships and family well-being is an idea that goes beyond common sense. But on the other hand, Freyja can help specifically in freeing oneself from abusive relationships, overcoming the fear of loneliness, and finding support within oneself.